Okay, so the primary space on this lower level is going to be our laboratory, right? And that's kind of one of the bigger focuses of the building. And we're going to kind of feature it in this space out here, but we got to make sure that around it, we've got ways in and out, and that we've also got a way, a means of egress out of the building. Whoops. I'm really sorry. My apologies for that. My mute was on. Thank you for notifying me on that, Seth. Appreciate it. So again, what I was going to say was I've got this large area where I'm going to feature my laboratory. How am I going to lay it out? Well, partially through my grid lines and partially through dimensions. I know that my corridors have to be a minimum of 5 feet. That's what we're going for in here. They may be a little bigger, but they're not going to get any smaller than 5 feet for the purpose of egress, right? So let's think about this. Do we want the lab to be something we can't see in? No, we want the lab to be something that's pretty prominently featured. Because it's a pharmaceutical company, one of the things we don't want happening in the lab where there's development is people trying to pocket the merchandise, right? So we want, whether you knew this or not, there's usually a lot of heavy security around labs, and they have to be able to be watched so um, uh, they're not tempted. So what we're going to do there, what's neat about that is we are going to put in a particular kind of wall. How about if we put in a storefront, right? If we put a storefront in here in this wall, if we cut a storefront into here, or we put a storefront in from top to bottom, we'll be able to see into that space. So I'm going to click on storefront. And I'm going to say I want it to go from the ground up to level 1, right? So I'm going to pull this back some so we can see that up to the first floor. So for right now, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to drop this storefront. I'm just going to start pushing it, putting it in spaces like here, from here to here, right? Um, I'm going to put part of it over to here, you know, and, right now I'm just kind of laying this thing in, and I'm using the grid lines to kind of help me with it. And then I'm going to use some dimensions to help me with it on certain portions of it, right? And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to trim this out. Okay, so I've trimmed that out now. And now I can start putting some dimensions on here, because I know down this back corridor I need at least 5 feet. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to hit annotate, aligned, and I'm going to click there, and that's 5'3". Hey, I can use that square footage, right? I'm sorry. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say, whoops, let's try this again. I got the dimension not placed properly, so let me try this one more time. I've got it to the face of the glass and not to the wall itself. So it says 5'5.5", right? And that's to the center of the glass. If I go to the face of the glass, that's 5'3". So what if I went in here and clicked on this and said, what if I made this 5'3"? That's 5'0.5". You know what? That's plenty fine to the face of that glass. We're okay. So we'll use that 5'3" dimension. What about down here in this area? Well, I'm going to go aligned, and I'm going to get 2 dimensions. I'm going to go to the face, and then I'm going to go to the actual center of the curtain wall, and I'm going to say, what if I come in here and I change this dimension to 5'3"? There I go with that 5'0.5" again. So I'm okay, right? Same is true over here in this corridor. Come over here, place this dimension, whoops, to the face. Wow, I know that's way short. So I'm going to go here. And here's what I know, that dimension of 5'3" has been getting me real close to that 5'0.5". So I'm okay with that, 5'3" to the center of there, and that extra ½ inch out there. So I'm doing well there. I'm probably good over here too. Let me see what the dimension to the face of that is. Just so I'm not completely wasting space and I kind of even my dimensions out. Remember, all this is square footage. So if that's 10 foot, maybe I say I want this dimension to be twice that. And so I'll just say I want this dimension to be 10 feet. Okay, so that 10-foot dimension is fine there, and I can, you know, I can delete that one for right now. I don't need to keep it, but I will put those back in later. But we'll string those dimensions differently. Now we'll look at this elevator shaft. We're going to need enough space for a decent elevator lobby in there. So let's check this dimension on the end right here. That's 5 1 7/8. If I dimension to the center this time, 5'4", so I know 5'3" is kind of my sweet spot. Whoop, 5'3". There we go. All right, and now we've got that dimension from the face of the glass in there. And if I'm curious as to what this looks like so far, what's nice is that I can give myself an idea of that. I can come in here and create a default 3D, oops, sorry, not the default 3D view. I want to create a camera view, and I'll stand right over here, right, somewhere in this lobby, and I'll say, what is this going to look like if I look at this direction? And I can make this a little bigger, right? And I say, hey, you know, that's not bad. Now, I do have a couple of problems in here that I'm going to have to work on. We're going to do that together. But if I go SD, you know, that doesn't look too terribly bad. I might want to get in and do some adjusting. But where is that adjusting I'm going to do? I'm going to do that adjusting because guess what? I don't want my walls going up through the joist. I probably want to stop, and I probably want to put a ceiling in here, don't I? So how would we do that? Well, let's use our friend the section, right? Let's go back to the ground floor, and let's look at where we could possibly come in here and do some adjusting if we cut a section. Let's stretch that out. We got that section sitting there. Go to view, and now as we are looking at, if I hover over this curtain wall and tab, 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 can I grab them all? Yeah, I can probably grab them all. And I proved that by going in here, and it looks like I've got most of them. Yeah, I'm doing okay there. So let's figure something out. Let's go back to this section, okay? Oops, not that section, section 4 that I have in here. And knowing that I definitely want to be down below this joist. So let's see what that dimension is. I'm going to go SD for a second. That'll help me see things a little better. And I'm going to go in here to annotate, and I'm going to say align. And while I'm in here, I'm going to say if the wall is up to that floor, right? Because here's our storefront, and it's going all the way up to that floor. If I want to get down to where I need to be, I need an offset in there. And I probably want to come all the way down to about the bottom of the joist. That dimension is 2'3.5" right now. So I know for a fact, if I'm going to come in here right now and I hover and I tab and click, right? I've got 6 walls selected is what it's telling me. If I go to my ground floor, I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 walls. I'm good to go right now, okay? So what I'm going to do is go back here, and I'm going to say I want to change the top offset to -2'3.5". And once I do that, there, now my walls are down below my joist, right? So I don't need this dimension anymore. And I'm going to go back to hidden line. I hit HL on the keyboard. I'm going to come in here and I'll say, from here to the bottom of that joist, that's 10 foot 2 3/4. Typically, all I need is an 8-foot ceiling in a space like this. Now, I could leave it exposed to the joist, right? In this 3D view now, see how these walls are only going to the bottom of the joist, right? So I could leave it exposed, and some people will be like, oh, that's a cool look because you could hang things from there. But I might want to put a ceiling in there for other purposes, and we'll talk about that in the next video.